There were many shifts in the political landscape of ancient Greece. One of the most significant changes was the rise of a new social class, fueled by the wealth generated through slavery. This class was very different in values and lifestyle from the traditional tribal leaders. While the older leadership had influence and social standing, they lacked wealth. The new class, on the other hand, was both rich and powerful. This wealthy elite became known as the oligarchy or plutocracy. A political struggle soon emerged between the old tribal leaders and this rising class of slave-owning economic elites. At the same time, a new type of political figure began to emerge, leaders who wanted to represent the demos, or the free people who were not slaves and did not own slaves. These leaders were known as demagogues, a term originally meaning leaders who spoke for the common people. Today, the term demagogue often has a negative meaning, referring to politicians who use manipulative speech to sway public opinion, regardless of truth. But in ancient Greece, demagogues were simply representatives of the common citizens. Another political role that developed during this time was that of the tyrant. Back then, the term didn't carry the negative meaning it has today. A tyrant was someone who took privileges away from the wealthy and redistributed them to the poor to maintain social balance. Tyrants didn't represent the demos or the slaves. Slaves had no political representation due to the aristocratic system, but their policies aimed at creating compromise between the elites and the common people. This period clearly revealed deep class divisions. As Bertrand Russell noted, the city of Miletus played a crucial role in the early history of philosophy. In fact, philosophy is said to have begun in Miletus, where stark class conflicts were evident. The free people of Miletus, the demos, once slaughtered the women and children of the aristocrats. The aristocrats regained power. They burned nearly all the demos alive in the city square. This shows the intense class tensions that existed in ancient Greece. Greek society also granted very few rights to women. Greek culture viewed men as inherently superior warriors, athletes, and conquerors. Women, who couldn't fight or participate in war, were seen as weak and inferior. Any influence a woman held usually came from her connection to a powerful man. Greece's greatest external threat was the Persian Empire. The Greco-Persian Wars lasted about 50 years, from 499 BC to 449 BC. Darius the Great and his sons, Xerxes I and Xerxes II, all attempted to conquer Greece. Ultimately, Greece survived because Athens and Sparta united to defeat the Persians. If you've seen the movie 300, it depicts one of those battles, King Leonidas of Sparta versus Xerxes of Persia. However, shortly after this victory, Athens and Sparta turned on each other. From 431 BC to 404 BC, they fought a brutal civil war known as the Peloponnesian Wars, which Sparta eventually won. As mentioned earlier, Athens and Sparta had very different political systems. In Athens, free men, those who were not slaves and did not own slaves, played a major role in the naval forces and politics. This led to a compromise between the slave-owning elite, the Achaeans, and the demos, forming a kind of early democracy. However, this system excluded both women and slaves, who made up the majority of the population. Sparta, in contrast, was governed entirely by an aristocracy of slave-owning elites. So this war was not just a fight between two city-states, but also between two social systems, aristocracy and democracy. People's loyalties weren't just based on where they were from, but also on their social class. In many ways, the Civil War revealed that class struggle was more significant than national rivalry. After this, Greece was defended once again, but a major turning point came when Alexander the Great marched out with his army. He didn't just defend Greece, he went on to conquer the entire Persian Empire. Alexander's campaign took him through Persia, Afghanistan, and into present-day Pakistan. Eventually, he reached India, moving down the Indus River into Multan. There, he was wounded by an arrow. Though he survived and escaped, he later returned to Iran, where he died. What's important to understand is that Greece's encounter with the Persian Empire sparked deep internal reflection and intellectual development. This cultural and political backdrop gave rise to philosophy. Philosophy began with individuals who distanced themselves from religious dogma and sought to understand nature and life through reason. Thinkers like Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes emerged, and we'll discuss them in the next episode. The earliest philosophers asked fundamental questions. What is existence? Who are we? Where did we come from? What is the purpose of life? How do things change? What is matter? What is life? They noticed that nature is filled with a wide variety of forms. Trees, mountains, clouds, people. But believed that all these different things must originate from one fundamental substance. Whether it's leaves, the earth, the sky, or human beings, everything was thought to be made from a single underlying element. These early thinkers laid the groundwork for what we now call philosophy.